So okay, here, this is a technique for detaching from someone you feel attached to. And you know, of course, it could also be a thing or a job or your home, but I'm just going to show it for if you are attached to a person, what can you do to detach yourself from that person? And you can do it on a like more superficial level, or you can do it on a little bit deeper level. Just take some step here. So what you will do is you will imagine the other person standing, you being here, standing, and then you will look at the other person, imagine that the other person is standing in front of you. And I have put they in quotation mark because as I see it, it's simply a reflection of you. But let's just park that for a moment and think of them as something outside of you. And then you will, and sometimes it will be helpful for you to close your eyes, and for others it doesn't really matter. And it can also be helpful to have somebody to ask you what you observe. But the point is to figure out what is happening in the space between you. And to actually say or think of the attachment as literal. So what you might find is that you might have a chain that goes from their foot to your foot, and you can be like very specific if you want, like where is it? Is it the right or the left foot? And on them, where is it? And also, is it heavy? Is it, what color does it have? You can describe this as much as you want. And then you will maybe look at something else. And so, oh, there is a heart connection here. Right? There might be some light going between your hearts. Or there might also be, a mental thing going on. And now I make it sound as if there will be, on 3 levels, and it doesn't have to be like that. It can be in all sorts of ways. One of my friends, he was completely attached to his desk at work, like with chewing gum, right, all over him. And it can also just be, a fine, etherical thread that are connecting you. It might be all sorts of things. So, only your imagination will stop you finding out what is here, right? The next step is to look and say, okay, if you chose to stop this connection, what would you lose? And you might say, I would lose wisdom. So implying that you have projected your wisdom onto the other person, or you see their wisdom as something, something outside of you, right? And you will miss it if you lose that connection. Here it might be, just to take the obvious version, it might be love, right? Or the feeling of being loved that is represented here. So if you caught that one, you would stop feeling loved. And here, it might be, let's say joy, just for something here, right? So now you know that in this theoretical situation where you would cut these, then you would feel that you lost wisdom, you would feel that you missed or had to let go of the feeling of being loved, and you would also let go of some joy, right? And if you look at that, no wonder you feel attached to the other person, right? Because they represent wisdom and being loved and joy to you. All right, so now you know what status is at the moment. Then what you want to do is to turn around, point the other way around, and then imagine yourself as or point two version. Like it can be, if you're into this, you can imagine your higher self, or just, yourself 5 years from now. Some that is, wiser, more mature, more, embodied, or being confident in her or himself. So this is who you're standing in front of. And then you want to make absolutely sure that that newer or more better version of yourself standing in front of you exactly exhibits, or encompasses wisdom, the feeling of being loved, and also joy, right? So you want to make sure that you have imagined a version of you that actually is wise, that can give you the feeling of being loved, and might even, have the feeling of being loved independently of others, and who will feel joy, right? So you want this version of yourself encompassing all the things that you at the moment have projected on the other person. And then you want to, probably not a big surprise, you will make the same connections as you have with the other person. Right? So you will have a chain between your foot and your older version foot. You will have this channel of feeling loved, and you will have the connection of wisdom, or whatever it is for you, right? Whatever you have experienced here. And in case you have too many going on, like sometimes I think I've had 7 or 8, and it can be quite challenging to keep track of, right? Then you can do some of them, and then, move one thread at a time if that feels right, or you might do it over several days if that, feels right for you. But anyway, so now you have the same connections to your new self as you have to your to the other person. And so what you do is you turn around again. Sorry, this is a very easy way of looking at it. I could have done the nose too, but and then you will imagine that you actually cut these, and it can be a sword, it can be I don't know, untying, like it could be untying the chain, it could be, blowing, if it's air that is coming between you, you just remove it, and you could maybe just snap this one, right? So you will basically disconnect from the other person, and then you have these here, right? So you're not missing anything. You have exactly the connection to wisdom, being loved, and joy. So there's no point in being connected to the other one or attached to the other one. And it might be really important here to say that even if, to the point of when you do this, you will actually have a truer connection to the other person. And it might be, of course, that person simply have represented these things and nothing else, and they're not meant to be part of your life, and you can let them go because you're no longer attached to them. It could be, for instance, an ex-partner, and you really want to let them go, and so they can move on freely and you can move on freely. But it can also be, say your mom, your dad, right? And having all these attachments doesn't benefit you at all. Removing them, focusing on your newer version, that will allow you to get a better relationship to your mom, your dad, whoever it was. There is one extra step. So this is actually, detaching from a person. But what you can do if you choose, if you're standing here, you can choose to say, how is it if I step in to this newer, better version of myself? And simply take it on and say, Yes, this was my old self. Now this is my new self. I am wisdom, the feeling of being loved and joy. Right? So that is like, really anchoring it in. So hope that would be helpful. And I'd love to, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat below. Thank you.